Supersonics Money Transfer is giving you an unbeatable offer this Tobaski. Your family and friends can now send you monies from the whole of Europe, US, Canada, and Switzerland for absolutely free. Yes! This Tobaski, enjoy our safe, fast, reliable, and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia at zero transfer charges. So your family and friends wouldn't have to worry about transfer charges when sending you monies from Europe, USA, Canada, and Switzerland this Tobaski. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. Support your own. Tobaski just got better with Supersonics Money Transfer.
Setane television muge waja soppeeku bu baax Excaf Gambia ñoo indi DTT decoder yu bees di ngeen ci am GRTS QTV Star TV Paradise TV ak MTA te doo fay dara DTT decoder yi ñaari junni ak ñeent fukki dalasi rek la mooy jar teg ci dinañ la may lu tollu ci benn weer di nga seetaan yeneen channel si biir àddina si te doo fay benn xaalis waaye boo bëggee continuer seetaan lu weesu juróom benn fukki channel da nga war a subscribe maanaam weer bu nekk di nga fay juróomi téeméer ak fukki dalasi rek nga seetaan football leagues yépp si àddina si news African music telenovela film yu neex music cartoon pour xale yi ak yeneeni channel kon nag gaaw leen gaaw jënd DTT decoder sa Excaf showroom ba ca Sénégambia fi Dream Park nekkoon mbaa seeni agents yu nekk ci biir réew mi call leen 446 1060 446 1061 ak DTT decoder àddina bi mu ngi si sa cati loxo yi
tey nag lu ma leen amal nag moo nekk waxtaan
mu ngi waaja soppeeku bu baax Excaf Gambia ñoo indi DTT decoder yu bees di ngeen ci am GRTS QTV Star TV Paradise TV ak MTA te doo fay dara DTT decoder yi ñaari junni ak ñeent fukki dalasi rek la mooy jar teg ci dinañ la may lu tollu ci benn weer di nga seetaan yeneen channel si biir àddina si te doo fay benn xaalis waaye boo bëggee continuer seetaan lu weesu juróom benn fukki channel da nga war a subscribe maanaam weer bu nekk di nga fay juróomi téeméer ak fukki dalasi rek nga seetaan football leagues yépp si àddina si news African music telenovela film yu neex music cartoon pour xale yi ak yeneeni channel kon nag gaaw leen gaaw jënd DTT decoder sa Excaf showroom ba ca Sénégambia fi Dream Park nekkoon mbaa seeni agents yu nekk ci biir réew mi call leen 446 1060 446 1061 ak DTT decoder àddina bi mu ngi si sa cati loxo yi
every dog na the trap where you pre-empire and I build it up brick by brick. This is you're watching Gambian Talents TV, you know. Multi problems.
Take it from a kid. Mimfama hanifen tuaja. I'm getting it all is soul man. Muka hanifen tualeja. Albany lab. Ya dualeja. Seja burjam. Dulka be freedom of space te bualeja. Dual bela dua.
Minister for Lands and Regional Government. Usual, today is the session for oral answers in accordance with Standing Order 41. Furthermore, I wish to remind the Assembly that the Standing Order 43 and limit to supplementary questions to 7 in total. 2 for the honorable member asking questions and 5 for other honorable members. On that note, I will now proceed with the honorable minister scheduled today to give oral answers.
Records owns a property in Tautu village. She commenced leasing the said property on the 24th of April 1994 and lease was completed in 1998 with lease serial number K35/1998. The plot measures 2.515 hectares and leased for agricultural purposes.
Thank you. Supplementary question, honorable member for Olyundum. Any? Any other member, supplementary question? Question number 068.
Regional government indicate to this August Assembly when will be the IEC conduct and other voters registration in the country.
Mr. Speaker, the conduct of elections and IEC as an institution are not within the purview of my ministry. As such, I cannot authoritatively tell this August Assembly when IEC intends to conduct another voter registration.
That's how we receive
I think it's the way the question was received, please. If no other supplementary, we move to question number 069-2020 by the Honorable Member for Brikama North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, for the purpose of constructing Brikama power plant, the vast area in Brikama Daro Hairu was confiscated and massive demolition exercise was carried out. In response to my parliamentary question in 2017, the then Minister of Lands and Regional Government responded that the government had no such plan to do so, but would consider compensating those victims. For about 2 years now, it is yet to be effected. Can the Honorable Minister inform this August Assembly the state of compensating those who were affected in the exercise? They are going to be plan to give them the compensation, but the cost is not decided. I do recall in one of my deliberations during a government debate, and the minister did inform that yes, it has been considered in what they call the OMBD project. Is still the same? Is that the function still the same?
Maybe let's totally outside our control. We are thinking of a suitable site as when it's available in terms of land, not the cash compensation of the
Now, can you be specific?
Supplementary or second supplementary?
Can you be specific? The earlier assertion that compensation will be given to them through the OMBD project. And now, which one is the final position of your ministry?
This position is to compensation in terms of land and not cash compensation. The cash compensation elements will be directed to either the Minister of Energy, which is directly, Minister of Environment, which is directly responsible for the OMBG project.
Other supplementary. Honorable Member for Brikama South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much. We agree with you, but almost 2 years now, buildings are still waiting. How soon? Thank you.
As soon as a suitable site is identified.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Honorable Minister, the Honorable Member said that the former Minister said the government had no plan as such. So my question is, did your ministry have any plan now?
That is why we are saying we are looking for a suitable site to compensate them, because we have decided that we should not allow them to lose out their land totally.
Honorable Minister, the plight of the people under your responsibility is one thing that needs to be given consideration, given the fact that they're with their families. The sooner you address how soon
Right now, I'm not in position to give a definitive time.
Honorable Member for Serra, please.
Honorable Speaker, given the growing claims of such a nature, is the Minister fully prepared to create a unit within this ministry that will keep records of all these claims and continue to give access to information to those people who may have some claims?
There are several units in the ministry, departments, both lands and fiscal planning. And in addition, there is also the land commission where people go and work their office for some compensation. An approved budget and we monitor their expenditure through the Director of Local Governance in the Ministry of Local Government.
Honorable Member for Sabah Sanja.
Thank you very much, Mr. Silva. Honorable Minister, can you help us with the percentage of total revenue of the council, the percentage that will be the amount for development?
It is the practice that they should make available 60% of the total revenue towards development of the council.
Honorable Minister, we are talking about revenue here. Would you agree with this National Assembly to advise the rest of the councils to be able to use digital tax collection system, to be able to, control the revenue that the councils are collecting for the development purposes? Would you agree with me to advise them?
I agree with it, and we are encouraging them to do so.
Honorable Minister, you said that the 60% that should be plowed back to people really is not a practice. They are not practicing it. What are you doing for the council to be able to break exactly what is in the law, the 60%, plowed back to the people?
We will strictly scrutinize all their budgets presented, and we will make sure and monitor that all the approved budgets are implemented as approved.
Honorable Speaker, the question asked by the member for Banjul North, of which the ministry have provided answers, which we expected should have been in the response, are not here. And I want to suggest that the honorable member be given the opportunity, even not during these sittings, but when we come back, because I believe when responses are provided, they will provoke a lot of supplementary questions just to help in understanding what is actually happening as far as revenue is concerned.
In the absence of any other supplementary, let me know.
No other supplementary. Question number 072-2020 by the Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in almost every part of Banjul, particularly the small inner streets, compounds, family compounds are being sold and transformed into warehouses. If the Honorable Minister for Lands and Regional Government is aware of this phenomenon, would he inform this August Assembly if there are plans to enforce regulations on the zoning of the city, restricting where to have warehouses and residential areas?
Honorable Speaker, my ministry is aware of the rapid transformation of Banjul from a predominantly residential settlement to commercial city, mainly to the due of the port expansion project. That notwithstanding, the Department of Planning, in collaboration with the Banjul City Council, are currently enforcing the development control regulations by stopping all unpermitted commercial development in the city. Furthermore, the ongoing ADB-funded land development will help address the land use conflict in Banjul?
I think, well, the one who asked the question has been given the opportunity to ask for two questions. Anyway, the first question is, Honorable Minister, yes, you said you have started engaging with the council, but the question also is asking about zoning. Have you considered applying the regulation in terms of zoning, that these are the areas where you can have warehouses, these areas residential, or you can have residential, both residential and warehouses in given areas? This the zoning aspect of it. That's what I'm also interested in.
Use planning, which is going to be as a result of the planning that is to be financed by ADB. The zoning will have to come as a result of that one.
Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, yes, would the old ministry also consider coming up with an embargo, moratorium on the construction of warehouses until after you have done the zoning? That to come up with a moratorium, embargo of not stop. Nobody should be constructing warehouses in Banjul unless and until this engagement, this exercise of zoning the city is completed.
Going back to the ministry, this concern will be raised there. That is suggestion coming from the National Assembly, and we will look at it. And if it is practical, then we will impose such embargo on construction of warehouses in Banjul.
Question laid emphasis about zoning. Honorable Minister, in the ADB financing project that you are waiting for, does that project contain the issue of cadastral mapping, as not only Banjul but the entire Gambia having an issue of zoning, where agricultural land is used for residential here and there? So if there is a
these things will be a priority, and then stop immediately to this, because it is really affecting Banjul. Thank you.
Like I said, we are already on exercise, and from here we will continue to exercise all the areas that are meant for residential. We will make sure that they are only for residential areas.
Thank you. Question.
The Honorable Minister for Lands and Regional Government informed this August Assembly how far his ministry has gone in addressing all land-related issues as he posed a threat to national security.
Reduce land issues over land, but most importantly to bring about efficient and effective land and land resource management. A. Lands Commission. The ministry constituted the Lands Commission, whose function includes to investigate disputes on land ownership and occupation in any area in the Gambia, conducting a systematic cadastral mapping. My ministry signed an non-committed MOU with Timber Land Administration to conduct a systematic cadastral mapping for the whole country. Review of the existing policy document. The ministry, in collaboration with FAO, is embarked on reviewing our current policy documents with the subsidiary regulations to adjust them to the current realities. Formulation of real estate bill. An in-house review of the draft real estate bill is ongoing, to be followed by stakeholder consultation and validation.
Has the Land Commission gone to address some of the issues?
I think we have been engaged in consultation countrywide, and I like to report that this morning before I left the Police Assembly, I received a first report that was submitted by the Commission, which when we go back, we have
Is that capacity of the Land Commission not only to be a recipient of complaint, but also to be going around to look at land-related issues as to respond in the area of solving those problems?
They have gone down the whole country, engaged everywhere, and everybody that is interested. Like I said, they have just submitted this morning
first report, but we have to look at this. We don't know what's in the process as to what they have accomplished.
Issues are becoming a great threat in this country. Not because they are reality, but because of the lack of information that people receive. I want the Honorable Minister to tell us what they are doing in order for people to know exactly what is happening. Because I assume it is miscommunication, because people do not actually know the real facts, and they just assume. We, the National Assembly members, are an example. People out there, the public would assume certain things. I think the communication is lacking. Can the Honorable Minister make sure that communication is effectively given so that everybody knows about the land laws and the land procedures? Thank you.
I think just last month, there was a press conference by the ministry. Some of the issues that were raised have been addressed, and we intend continuing that to be able to educate the populace about our land-related issues. As last week, we have also received an information officer posted to this ministry, and her sole responsibility will be disseminating information of the ministry.
Councillor, Honourable Member for Councillor.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Minister, I would want to know how approachable is the Land Commission, because myself and a host of members of the Select Committee are being confronted by the public that the Land Commission is actually not responding to calls from people who have land-related issues.
It is also a question of people also to have exercise patience. Some of the cases that are before the Land Commission either been dealt with by the courts or are currently before the courts, and each such cases cannot be dealt with by the Commission. If you choose to go to the courts, you have to wait for the court process to complete, and if a case is decided, the execution of that decision is not within us, neither nor is with the Land Commission, but the judiciary.
It's a priority to constitute a task force committee to go and intervene in the recent land crisis that happened between the two communities in Tumanna, that is the village of Waliba and Pirai, and also equally in Kantora constituency between Kanjambo and Same.
The Same Kanjambo incident has not been reported to our ministry, but the one before with Waliba Kunda and Pirai is a subject of a court decision, and our interference into that one, it means we are interfering with the judiciary, which is not right.
Honorable Minister, if I may ask, the Land Commission looks to be very dormant. It's not to the public hearings, it's not to the public views. When do you intend to bring it out so that people can hear a good lot of the works of the Land Commission?
As you are aware, it is an independent commission, and it is not subject to interference. It is existing, and we gave them all the support. It is now left to the commission to be able to operate.
Which year do you establish this Land Commission and impact on the community? Thank you. Which year do you establish, which year the ministry established Land Commission and impact on the community?
I think the last commission was established either early or late, early 2019 or late 2018. I can't remember a precise date. But for us, Like I said, it is an independent commission. It is not subject to our control or interference. So I will not be able to tell you the effect of the commission on the public. It is for the public to decide.
March 2017 to 38 May 2020, and the total amount derived from these sales.
Honorable Speaker, this ministry have not sold any land within the sale period.
Supplementary by Honorable Member. Okay. Honorable Member for Woodley East, supplementary.
Honorable Speaker, does that mean
No, not from the ministry. And notify the relevant authorities of any situation that they might consider provocative.
Honorable Member for Bikamasa.
Honorable Minister, as per to my last parliamentary question regarding the actual demarcation, you did mention that you've written to the British government to look into their archive for the map of the land to use it to demarcation. So are you able to get the map from the British government?
I believe that had commenced. The South Bank of Gambia, part of it have already been exercised, and we were supposed to hold a meeting exactly a week after the President Council meeting in Dakar, but unfortunately because of this coronavirus, those meetings could not have happened. Otherwise, by now we would have gone far with the sensitization of the people around the border.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Foley Councillor. The floor is yours. Question, we then go to question number 135/2020 by the Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have been informed that the space behind the new National Assembly complex has been earmarked for the building of offices for the National Assembly members and parliamentary committees, as is practice in some countries. Is the Honourable Minister of Lands and Regional Government aware of any allocation of this shared land to any institution or person? If so, which institution or person and who authorized the issuing of the land?
Honorable Speaker, yes, this ministry under instructions from the then office of the President allocated a space between National Assembly and Bond Road to Banjul City Council, BCC, on the 19th of April 2016 to build the head office and other developmental projects. However, the recent development just next to the National Assembly is outside the allocated space, and hence this ministry stopped all developments on the said site.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Minister, thank you for the response. Would you tell this August Assembly which institution started developing the area?
The information reaching us is some private individuals. Like I said, we have stopped all those developments at now. And we will more than glad to receive any information on anything that's any activity that is around there. Secondly, we would want to urge the National Assembly to make a formal request so that we allocate the area and you protect it.
Honorable Member for Banjul North, your second chance.
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, yes, the second leg of my question was whether they could consider giving it to the National Assembly. But he said that, well, they're urging the Assembly to start the process of applying for the land because we need it for our offices and for our committee halls. Thank you.
I'm waiting for the request.
Speaker, if I understand from the Honorable Minister, the said land that the National Assembly Authority is claiming to be owned by the National Assembly actually does not belong to the National Assembly, if I understand from the response you gave. In your response, you made mention that the land was allocated to BCC sometimes in April 2016. My question is, if I understand from your response, the land as claimed to be owned by the National Assembly Authority is not the legal property of the National Assembly. Is that the answer?
I think so, because I think you had already secured the land that was allocated to the National Assembly. Outside that one is outside your allocation, but we are willing and ready to give you an extension of your allocation, which we feel as soon as it is allocated, you'll be able to secure it from any encouragement.
Just behind the fence of our National Assembly, there's another development.
Yes, we are aware and we are sorry at the development. Even before the question, we saw the strong development.
That the land was given to Bali City Council by the former government. Was the allocation legal or illegal? That is what I think the ministry confiscated and given to the National Assembly.
The land in question was not the one allocated to Bali City Council. The one that was allocated to Bali City Council, I can authoritatively inform this House that they have not completed the requirements as of now. The allocation was done, but other requirements that have been fulfilled, which have not been done.
Honourable Minister, the Honourable Member asked for the question who authorized the issuing of the land. Can you please say that live on that? Who authorized the issuing of the land? Because Honourable Minister was passing the rules here. Despite this topic, who authorized it?
You know, general rule or is this land in question? Can you be specific? I said the land in question that people have encroached has not been allocated to anybody. One that has been allocated, directives were given by the then office of the President for PCC to be allocated land to put up their headquarters and other development projects there. But this one in question has not been allocated. All power records.
009-2020 by Honorable Member for Banjul Central to the Minister for Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources.
Thank you. Income this August Assembly. The practical measures in place to stop the circulation of plastic bags in the country. Thank you.
On the manufacture, import and use of plastic bags effective July 2015. The National Environment Agency, in collaboration with key stakeholders, have been effectively enforcing the ban by stopping the importation, manufacturing, and the use of plastic bags in the country. However, the enforcement has faced a lot of challenges in recent years, and the agency believes that the best course of action for now is rigorous sensitization on the government of the Gambia in 2018 have joined the Commonwealth Clean Ozone Alliance, and the NEA is also working with the same organization to deliver better ways of removing plastic waste from our waste stream. From our waste stream, they have also done scoping of plastic situation, which was carried out by a technical assistant given by the Commonwealth Office, who had meetings with key stakeholders in plastic waste management in the Gambia to devise ways of recycling. Specifically, the initiative will, 1, work on advocacy for decision makers on the need to take a holistic approach in the implementation of the ban order. The initiative will also take into consideration changing waste to wealth-based initiatives, that is income generation, alternative livelihood, entrepreneurial skills development approaches to increase recycling of plastic waste are factored. And recycling factories like gum plastic, jar oil, etc. were also engaged. Enforcement of the existing ban on single-use plastic bags has been a challenge, as I highlighted earlier, particularly with respect to the flow of banned items across borders. These interventions will also look at addressing all the challenges associated with the ban, including but not limited to the availability of appropriate alternatives, including material substitution, reuse, and alternative delivery models. The National Environment Agency also works with local groups in the area of plastic waste recycling, one of which is TARU, Trust Agency for Rural Development in Gunjur. This group recycles plastic waste into concrete pavements, and anytime the agency confiscates plastics, it sends it to this group as a raw material for their production. Honorable Speaker, notwithstanding, my ministry, through the National Environment Agency, continues to enforce plastic from across the border that was intercepted and underlying border posts. All this was due to interagency collaboration. Thank you.
In the meantime, supplementary question by Honorable Member for Banjul Assembly.
Honorable Minister,
yes.
Do you think that the government is fair to the private investors who have invested a lot of millions in production of plastic, in the production of paper bags, after the banning of the plastic bags? Because most of them have invested a lot of money, and still now the plastic bags have been circulated in the country. And so I know of a company who have last week terminated service of 10 of their staffs. I think this is not fair to them.
Thank you very much. I think this is very important. I have said it here. This is why we are engaging them to look at alternatives. And we have companies here that are producing paper bags in place of plastics. And to encourage them, this is why we want to enforce using the multi-stakeholder, the police, the immigration, and all the other security outfits, including the municipal councils, so that we can effectively monitor the use of single-use plastic. When we say plastic, it's not all categories of plastic that you see are part of this ban order. We have specific categories that is single use, that when you use today, you throw it away. But wrapping materials, agricultural materials that are wrapped with all this, they are not part of this category. So this, I think this must be clear. I clearly understand with you. Just few weeks ago, we were invited by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Employment that we have a Gambian who is doing this work, and he is now seeking clearance from my ministry so that he can open, stations around the country to be collecting these plastics that are already littered around, so that he can use it to convert them into mats, to convert them into kettle, and we have that company here. Gum plastic, we've also engaged, and jar oil already has such a similar factory in Conakry that we want him to replicate here, so that with the use of all these plastics, even whereas all these other, not within the ban order that are used here, we can use them to recycle them and change their form into other forms that can be used by the population.
The Honorable Minister can correct us. Was it not a law that had the use of plastic bags? If it is a law and people are using it, what is stopping the that is legal.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I think this is exactly what we are doing. We are using this plastic ban order in tandem with the anti-littering bill. The anti-littering bill prohibits people to be, throwing things around. And I can tell you, when this magistrate Boja was sitting in Canada, in Gulu, we get speed, people are fined, either you pay or you go to mine. And since then, we have seen a lot of improvement. But since the change of that, we ran into the, that was what I was explaining. We are applying the law for people who violate the law to pay the penalty for the law. But unfortunately, the process, the speediness of the prosecution is what is impeding this aspect of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member for Jara West. Jara West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, my issue is recent awareness, as you mentioned in your answer. I don't know how much you collaborate with the users, the people who are using these plastic bags in your awareness campaign. Are they involved? Are they part of it? Because I believe if you take them on board, that will also enlighten to reduce the use of plastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think I have made mention of that when I said we are working with a local NGO in Congo South, TARU. And TARU is very deeply rooted in the community, and we are working directly with the users themselves, to train them to be able to change this plastic into pavements and the like. So we are working with the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member for the Commonwealth.
I see my question has been addressed by Honorable Member for.
Honorable Speaker, I must be very honest. Looking at this question, it seems I attempted to answer it, but we have different categories, different categories of licenses. But I attempt to give a general view. Timber vendors license for commercialization of soil of different dimensions are issued to applicants after fulfilling the requirements for a period of 12 months, renewable annually. The acquisition of this document issued by the Department of Forestry legally empowers the vendor to buy soil of any dimension from sawmill operators to sell to users.
Thank you. Any supplementary? Yes, Honorable Member for South Sanja.
Yes, thank you very much. Maybe, okay, the answer is very but I have a concern. That is, people are issued license to cut down trees. And my concern there is, are they fulfilling the process of getting that license to fell that tree down?
Honorable Speaker, I think that is the process that I have just explained. Construction industry will suffer. Some of us, will not have beds. All these are materials that depend on the natural resources, that is the forest. So if we have to be not actually giving a kind of a license for people to cut anyhow they want, but it must be in a manner that will be sustainable for a long period. As you suggested, Honorable Member for Wilderness, when you cut one, you plant two. And this year, my ministry is working on, we are working on this regulation, the forest regulation, and the forest regulation will specify all this. And this year we are working on, I said it here, that we will be embarking on a tree planting exercise. Next week I'm out in the field to assess the nursery status, also give out this community forest back to the community. But what we intend to do there is for people to take it as
to be planting tree, not only to plant it, but to make sure that it's survives.
Thank you. Honorable Member.
For Finance and Economic Affairs.
And as part of the set macroeconomic convergence criteria, the Gambia continues to meet 3 of the 4 primary convergence and 1 of the 2 secondary convergence since 2017. However, the Gambia is missing the budget deficit and debt to GDP ratio. Yet, this has placed the Gambia among the best performing countries towards the regional integration process of the single currency.
Honorable Member for Bakau, any supplementary?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
Honorable Minister, I understand the government met 3 criteria out of 4. To be specific, can you tell us what those criteria are?
I don't have specifically, but there are set criteria set, including these 2 that I placed, the budget deficit and debt to GDP ratio. If you allow me, I'll come back to that later, be more specific. I don't want to guess the answer. But before the end, I'll be able to come back to it.
Honorable Member for Bakau, supplementary.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, 2020 was the proposed year for the launching of the airport. And I understand 2020 have gone halfway. What's making the delay of the launching? Thank you.
Thank you. Drive countries to be able to either to meet it or not. What we have in place, there is a report that I can share with you, independent. This is not a statement that is coming from the finance minister. This is coming from an organization whose responsibility and mandate is to monitor the performance of countries. This statement is a verbatim and replicating. It's not a statement that the finance minister or government of the Gambia is making. It's an independent evaluation that is done, and I can share that document with you.
Thank you. Honorable. No, you have taken your share. Thank you. No, I don't think I will be able to allow you. Honorable Member for Serakunda, please.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Minister, this indicates some of the contradiction that exists within the book regarding the implementation of the objective of establishing the airport. Would we elucidate for the members to have full understanding? Because the question is Gambia prepared? Gambia is prepared that what are the exogenous factors to prevent implementation?
Thank you very much. When I talk about exogenous factors, here we're talking about the debt to GDP ratio. That is beyond us. We are borrowing, and if at all the debt to GDP ratio is going up, and the ceiling that is made, that like the budget deficit, you only pay 3%. Debt to GDP ratio, you should be around 50 or 40 something percent. These are the exogenous factors that are beyond us. That doesn't mean that we cannot compete. So there is nothing that is saying that Gambia is not yet prepared. We are willing. And that is why we are part of it. We are trying our best to make sure that we meet those criteria that are set.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Woodley East.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it comes to almost the same thing. My understanding is that you have to have certain countries, a number of countries to meet a certain criteria. What they are telling us is that Gambia has met a criteria. Which other 2
I'll try to share it with you latest by Friday. It's soft copy. Maybe we can send it to the crowd as maybe like tomorrow.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Sabah Sanjay.
My concern is
you said you?
Yeah, my concern is addressed.
Okay, thank you. We move to question number 205, 2019 by Honorable Member for Kiamas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Can the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs give this August Assembly the total grant received as pledges for the implementation of the National Development Plan, giving a breakdown of the amount as of now? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, the implementation of the National Development Plan is progressing, and so far a total of $199.57 million has been disbursed towards the implementation of the NDP, representing a 12% disbursement rate of the pledge.
Supplementary, Member Pierre West, Honorable Member.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, and Honorable Minister, inform this August body the areas in which this amount is disposed. The areas this amount is disposed. Yes,
I think if you need a breakdown, you can provide the breakdown.
But I asked for it, yes.
Again, here, what we are saying, you've asked for the grant, but the breakdown, I didn't see the question that you have to, but we can provide the breakdown as an annex. We can let me just check, let me just confirm.
Honorable Member for Bakau.
No, we will provide it. We've already answered, but I will get the annex.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, according to what I understand from the main question, the member for Kiang East is asking for the total grant received as pledges for the implementation of the National Development Plan, giving a breakdown of the amount as at now. But according to what I understand from the answer, you just gave the amount that is being disbursed instead the total amount that has been received as pledges.
Yeah, we will provide the breakdown in the short while. Yes, we understand that was something that was an oversight, but we do have the breakdown, but we fail to attach it.
No, what I see is the amount received, is that the total amount?
Yes, it is the total amount. It's the grant, yes. It's the total amount received. No, this is already in the software. I don't think there is anything to apologize. Maybe it's an oversight that within the next hour or so, we should be able to provide the breakdown immediately. We will attach the breakdown.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Brikama.
I think my question has been taken care of.
Okay. 2019, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I give authority to honorable members of the Council.
No, I think you to me. Deputy Speaker. Speaker, can the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs inform this August Assembly the state of debts owed by the following institutions of the Social Security, Housing, Finance and Corporation, i.e. GCAA, GGC, GIA, GPA, NOEC, GAMTEL, GABS, and DOTG.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform the Deputy Speaker that the state of debt owed by the following institutions to the Social Security and Finance Housing Corporation as at end June 2019 are as follows. NAWEC, $833 million, GRPS, $46,950,000, GCAA, $92,600,000, GIA, $15,982,000, GGC, $223,298,000, Government of the Gambia,
My question is now, 8 institutions is paying Social Security. But I always answer, it only 6. What about GPA and GAMTEL?
Because if I don't have the information, I cannot give it out here. Only the information that's what we have exactly. That's why I'm sharing this information. If I don't have additional information, I cannot give it out. I cannot guess a figure. I have to have something concrete, something that maybe, if at all they owe anything, because there is always a reconciliation exercise. Maybe they have not owned, or maybe if they owe, they are still going on with the reconciliation exercise.
Honorable members of Basel, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to add the same question at the member of the Honorable Speaker. Let Honorable Minister understand the procedure in Parliament. If you ask a question, you answer the question. If you don't have answer to the question, you inform members that this particular question I don't have information about, but police to give them information. So as it is mentioned, 8 institutions, the question is about 8 institutions. He answered for 6 institutions. The remaining 2, that's the GPA and the GAMTEL, that are given information about. We hope, after giving the answer for the 6 institutions, for the foreign minister to inform the Parliament that institution A and institution B, there's no information about them because of ABC. That's our question in Parliament. Thank you.
And so far, we have to go back to Social Security and ask for the actuals. It was the total number of the debts that we were researching on, and that's the information we get. But as I said, you are right. I think the additional 2, we will make sure that we will provide the answers. But when we requested, these are the answers that we've got. But we promise that we will be able to get the additional information, including the current actuals that they have already paid.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Can you please, after here, provide this information in written form to the officer of the clerk? Honorable Member for Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the question is this information a byproduct of the reconciliation between the institutional board and the institutional going, and what you have given us is now the reconciled figure, or is there some indication that talks are still taking place between the institutions?
As far as we are concerned, this information that we've given is something that is after reconciliation, is the actual figures that we have received from them. Sometimes it is the way the reconciliation is done. If there was information and the exchange of management and there are certain information that was not coming up front, there is always a gap that if you provide additional information and the evidence that how it was, the debt was contracted, but as of now, this is after reconciliation and that's the actual figure that we received.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Lower Newry, supplementary.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, how long have these institutions been indebted to the Social Security? Do you intend to, or does your ministry intend to institute any disciplinary action against the defaulters by virtue of the fact that after stating the MOU and there is the default, what next would be your step?
If you sign the MOU, there is always a clause for penalty and there is always a sanction that we will have to do. For the time being, we are not encouraging or allowing any institution to go to social security and secure any loan. For the time being, what we make sure that the amount owed is paid.
19 by the Honorable Member for Ileasa.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, can the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs tell this August Assembly the statistical data on the duty on rice from 2017 to 2018? How much money lost in 2019 due to the wave on the rice? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform the Honorable Member from Ileasa that duty collected on rice import for 2017 amounted to 192.4 million. However, the duty on rice 2018 was zero rated and hence there was no payment of duty on rice import. Whilst revenue loss to waiving taxes on rice imports amounts to 305.1 million in 2019.
Honorable Member for Ileasa, any supplementary?
I think, the answer I've got here and what he's reading is quite different.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, because your answer here, if you can allow me to read it. Yes, the answer is written here. But, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Minister, I couldn't respond that I wish to inform Honourable Minister, Honourable Member of Ileasa Constitution, please.
I didn't hear.
Yes, I said the minister is appealing for us to give him time to consult his technicians. Are you giving him that time or you want him to continue? You need to make a decision on that.
I will give him time and then we move to next question and come back. Yeah. Honorable Nyomi.
Normally, Honorable Speaker, around this time, we break off for lunch and prayers. May I move that we break off for lunch and prayers, then come back?
Okay, thank you.
Because there is an impasse here where the Honorable Minister is to contact his technicians.
Okay, that's all right.
Yes.
Thank you. Are you moving a motion?
I am moving a motion that we break off for lunch and prayers. Then when we come back, there would be ample time given to the minister so that he could make the consultations necessary.
Yeah.
Second.
It has, Honorable, for 1 hour for lunch and prayers and then come back. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it.
Before adjourning. To submit for consideration and approval by the National Assembly a supplementary appropriation bill for the fiscal year 2020. Honorable Speaker, the legal requirement for the presentation of a supplementary appropriation bill to the National Assembly are detailed out in the 1997 Constitution and the Public Finance Act 2014, Section 153, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, requires a supplementary estimate be laid before the National Assembly for approval if the amount appropriated under the Appropriation Act is insufficient or that a need has arisen for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by the Act. Furthermore, Section 30, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Act equally requires the minister to submit a supplementary budget to the National Assembly when substantial changes in the economic and social condition requires larger expenditure than originally and revised budget allow, and that the supplementary budget should detail out the additional expenditure sources of their financing. Honorable Speaker, introduction. On March 27, 2020, the President of the Republic, Sir Adama Barrow, declared a state of emergency, including the closure of all non-essential public and private businesses owing to the severity of the global coronavirus outbreak. As recent as July 1st, the state of emergency was extended for an additional period of 1 week. During this period, the government has outlined a number of measures aimed at protecting the population and safeguarding the functioning of society and the economy. As a country, the Gambia recorded its first case on 16 March 2020, and as of 2nd July 2020, 55 cases have been recorded within the country, of which 27 have recovered with 2 fatalities, and remaining 26 are currently undergoing medical treatment. A total of 834 people have been completely quarantined, whilst 353 people still remain quarantined. The number of the COVID-19 test cases conducted across the country have also been ramped up over the past few weeks, with a total of 3,142 individuals tested. Honorable Speaker, the global economy, it is evident that we are in uncharted territory as we bear witness to the devastation caused by this pandemic. Not only has the coronavirus affected lives and livelihoods of people across the globe, it is poised to have a detrimental effect on the world economy. As of end April 2020, more than 65% of the global economy was undergoing some form of lockdown or quarantine, and this continued to impact economic activities worldwide, regardless of national infection rate. Thus, there is strong possibility of a global recession arising from the corona pandemic, unlike most other countries. The Gambia continues to feel the negative social and economic impact of this pandemic. Honorable Speaker, the domestic economy. The World Health Organization has projected that Africa will reach its COVID-19 peak between May and July, and of late, the number of positive cases have surged across the country. As a result, we conducted a rapid assessment of the macro fiscal impact of the pandemic to gauge its impact on GDP, revenue, expenditure, and the 2020 budget. Preliminary assessment of the impact of the COVID-19 suggests that economic growth in 2020 will be 5.8% lower than the initial 6.3% at the beginning of the year. The decline in economic growth is estimated to emanate from trade, remittances, construction, hotels, and restaurants. In addition, mild effects are anticipated in the local manufacturing sector as supply-side constraints through the lower supply of production inputs and other supplies will run low for most factory floors. Initial estimates indicate that growth in the service sector will decline from 3.5% initially estimated to 0.6%, with tourism, hotel, and restaurants estimated to contract by at least negative 19.5% from the 4.5% initially projected. As the sector with the largest contribution to GDP, approximately 20% in 2019, its contraction will also substantially affect our growth prospects. However, should the virus continue to spread globally and locally, the Gambian economy will likely take a stronger hit and possibly enter into recession. Honorable Speaker, trade volumes are also expected to slow down as a result of coronavirus pandemic, and the longer this pandemic continues, the more severe the reduction will be. We are also likely to observe a reduction in the container traffic at the Gambia Ports Authority in the medium term due to many countries restricting their exports during the pandemic. Remittances, which is a key driver to our economy, will also take a hit due to uncertainties associated with the coronavirus in more advanced economies. Honorable Speaker, expenditure. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs has embarked on expenditure reprioritization to the tune of $1.345 billion, is all geared towards combating the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, an emergency food package was distributed to 84% of the population. As a result, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs has committed to provide resources only to ministries, departments, and agencies for statutory expenditures, i.e. personnel elements, debt service, pension, and minimum operational expenses. This commitment has availed the government the opportunity to reallocate $500 million from various budget entities and channel them to the Ministry of Health to fight against COVID-19. The bulk of these savings came from travel, training, and National Health Insurance Scheme and the Program for Accelerated Community Development Pact. In addition, $845 million was also reallocated from deferred debt services to finance the emergency food package recently distributed across the country. Revenue. As the adverse effects of COVID-19 continues to unfold, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs assessment suggests that a total of $3 billion in revenue will be lost if the pandemic does not drastically subdue by the end of the third quarter. This indicates 19% decline from an initial revenue target of $12.45 billion compared to a revised revenue forecast of $9.45 billion. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs will therefore update its 2020 medium-term economic and fiscal framework, MTEF, to reflect the fiscal impact of the coronavirus as this document underpins the formulation of the 2021 budget. Honorable Speaker, based on the above synopsis, it is evident that COVID-19 pandemic has the potential to severely distort the social and economic environment in this country. These devastating effects of the pandemic is non-discriminatory and affects every person, government's operation, business, and of rice, sugar, and 20 liters of cooking oil to each household that is considered vulnerable. $500 million was reallocated from within the budget and earmarked to support the Ministry of Health towards the National Preparedness and Response Plan. Monetary policies have been reduced by 50 basis points at end February 2020 to 12%, and the standing deposit facility rate has been increased by 3%. Honorable Speaker, the focus of this supplementary budget proposal is covering costs arising from the need to combat the coronavirus outbreak, as well as other essential and urgent budgetary needs that are directly or indirectly related to the pandemic. Furthermore, there is need to support the private sector, in particular to the tourism and hospitality sector, so that they may cope with the effects of the pandemic. The supplementary estimate is also formulated to address specific needs that may not necessarily be associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, including payments owed to Harafi and Sapoji, rehabilitation of the Basse Market and Birkama, construction of the mausoleum for our founding father, the late Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawla, rural roads projects, recapitalizing the central bank and the settlement of International Trade Financing Corporation facility on behalf of the Gambia Groundnut Council. Honorable Speaker, I will now get into details of these specific supplementary estimates. Given the difficulties in predicting the duration of this pandemic, coupled with the fact that government has already introduced various measures, such as the closure of non-essential businesses to control the spread of the coronavirus, we therefore deem it fit to provide some sort of a humanitarian assistance to the general public. As we all know, almost half of our population live under poverty levels less than $1.2 a day. And a meaningful sector of the economy is in the informal sector, where most people earn daily income wages to feed their families. As a result, we have factored in $845 million, including contingency and logistics, on this SAP to cover for the provision of rice, sugar, vegetable oil to be distributed to the most vulnerable households across the country. The distribution mechanism was deduced on the basis of the 2013 Integrated Household Survey, adjusted by a recent survey conducted by the National Assembly members in collaboration with the local government authorities and the National Disaster Management Agency, reach out to all rural communities to ascertain that the true impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. This exercise indicates that a total of 201,600 households displayed a high level of vulnerability. Of this, 84%, 169,344 households are in the rural communities, and 16%, that is 32,256 households in the urban area. Honorable Speaker, in addition to the humanitarian support recently given, government is also working with the World Food Programme and the World Bank to provide additional food assistance to the most vulnerable. The intervention will target the 733,000 most vulnerable and food insecure people, 91,625 households for 3 months, that is July to September, providing rice, cash transfer to cover beans, oil, and salt. Cash transfers will be delivered through mobile digital payments. This project is estimated at $333 million, and the government has committed to contribute $224 million. Honorable Speaker, as earlier highlighted, the hospitality industry is among the worst hit sector in the economy due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as tourism sector has come to a halt due to travel restrictions across the globe. As a result, we intend to assist the tourism industry in this difficult time by settling some of their liabilities owed to the Gambia Tourism Board in a form of operational license, and as well as various rate fees owed to the various municipalities. The total amount owed to GT Board amounts to $5.6 million, whereas rates fees owed to the municipalities amounts to $20 million, thereby totaling $25.6 million. With this With the approval of this supplementary estimate request, government intends to settle these fees on behalf of the tourism sector. Furthermore, we have factored an additional 100 million on this SAP geared towards a post-COVID recovery plan for the tourism sector. Honorable Speaker, certain public enterprises are also feeling the effects of this pandemic on their basic operations. Among the most affected PEs are the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, the Gambia Maritime Agency, the Gambia International Agency, GAMPOS, and the Gambia Ferry Services. The GCAA, which primarily depends on airport traffic as its main source of income, is reeling from the effect of the closure of the airport. Similarly, the revenue capacity of the GIA has markedly deteriorated due to significant slowdown in international travels. Meanwhile, GFS and GMA have also been affected by the border closure and a state of emergency that limits crowd control to a size of 10 or less. As a result, all the above-mentioned PEs currently have serious financial constraints, and they need urgent assistance from government in order to sustain their operation, including payment of salaries to their employees. Under this supplementary estimates, it is proposed that the operating expenses of these PEs be settled by government with a bailout to the tune of $121 million to sustain their operations for a period of 3 months. Honorable Speaker, in order to strengthen the central bank balance sheet, we have factored $180 million to recapitalize the bank. This will enhance the operational independence of the central bank, capable of attaining price stability without resorting to financial repression. Honorable Speaker, this supplementary appropriation request has also factored $435 million to cater for the bailing out of the Gambia Groundnut Corporation to settle their upcoming payments due to the International Trade and Finance Corporation of the Islamic Development Bank. GGC management have already informed us that due to the precarious state of their financing, they will not be in a position to settle these upcoming payments. Failure to settle this payment to the ITFC will have a profound effect on all the ISDB finance projects in this country, including agriculture projects, and all disbursements from the ISDB will be suspended. Honorable Speaker, in addition to COVID-19 related expenses, this SAP also intends to address various infrastructure projects, some of which were exhaustively discussed with this August Assembly during the 2020 budget approval process, whilst others are deemed relevant to implement, as they will serve as a crucial input to strong, sustainable, and long-term growth of our economy. It is our fervent view that implementing these infrastructure projects has the potential to lift income, create opportunities, and support economic development and help alleviate poverty. This will also provide communities with market access for agriculture and other produce, open corridors for domestic trade, and help us nonetheless encroach on land previously allocated by government, and as a result, a settlement fee totaling $87 million has been agreed with the relevant stakeholders. An amount equivalent to $10 million has been disbursed to date, with an additional $77 million balance still outstanding. This balance has been factored in on this SAP. Honorable Speaker, since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, many Gambian students abroad have contacted their respective embassies and high commissions to request for financial assistance in order to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on their livelihood. So far, government has responded to their needs by availing $18 million to deserving students. However, after our initial disbursements, more students have registered with the respective Gambian missions and are also asking for similar support previously given to Gambian students studying in different countries. As a result, we would like to avail an additional $20 million to the students, which is therefore factored in on this supplementary estimate. Honorable Speaker, there is also a need to consider an additional $10 million as consultancy fees for various ongoing projects, including the Greater Banjul Rehabilitation Project. The Banjul project is also currently at an advanced stage, whilst other road projects such as Hakalang, Sabastanjal, Kaur, Sakandi projects are moving into design stage, tendering and evaluation. Retention fees totaling to $25 million is also being proposed under this SOP. These fees are due as per the clause of their respective contracts following the completion of Gambisara Road project, Sting Corner Road project, and the governor's residence in Central River Region. Honorable Speaker, additional resources to the tune of $144 million is hereby catered for the settlement of Eme Harafi areas. This will address our outstanding quarterly payments for the year. It could be recalled that I did raise this specific issue with this August Assembly during the 2020 budget, although at the tail end of the budgetary process, hence it could not be incorporated into the budget. As promised, I will once ask your approval for these payments to be considered on the supplementary appropriation request. Similarly, to Eme Harafi, I did discuss the areas owed to Sapoji during the budgetary process and have now factored $24 million on this SAP as a final retention payment towards Sapoji for the construction of this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, in our bid to streamline our foreign missions, we have taken relevant steps towards closing our embassies in Malaysia and Algeria. These two missions were expected to wind down their operations by the first half of this year. However, due to the global coronavirus pandemic that has severely impacted international movement, we will have to extend timelines given to them to return home. In addition, government has also recalled several diplomatic personnel this year who are still unable to return at this current juncture. The supplementary appropriation therefore factored a total of $50 million to maintain Malaysia and Algeria mission for the additional 6 months, as well as cater for the repatriation of diplomatic missions who have been recalled home with their families. Honorable Speaker, the final item on this supplementary proposal is the consideration of a $30 million land compensation fee for the Upper River Region Roads and Bridges project. An independent evaluation assessment report recommended that the compensation be paid to landowners directly affected by the project. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs will use various financing mechanisms to cater for this supplementary appropriation. The government of the Gambia has already received $1.05 billion as a rapid credit facilities from the International Monetary Fund to address the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, an additional $952 million as grant financing from the European Union. The African Development Bank has also made firm commitments to provide us with an additional $408 million as grant, while the World Bank has disbursed $500 million as grant financing towards the procurement of medical equipment. Meanwhile, a credit facility of $435 million will be accessed from the International Trade Financing Corporation, ITFC, and $49 million will be borrowed from the domestic market, even though borrowing is certainly not preferred given our debt situation. It should, however, be noted that the situation we are facing today is unprecedented and requires urgent and prudent actions that prioritize economic stability in the short and medium term. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, despite the challenges anticipated for the economy, I would like to emphasize the significant role that the government's assistance will play not only in the protection of our nation from the coronavirus, but it will also act as a trigger to help stimulate economic growth through reprioritization of government spending, as well as extending assistance to the most vulnerable tourism and infrastructure sectors through these times of uncertainty. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our development partners for their invaluable support during this period, and I can assure you that the government is committed to continue to work in collaboration with them to secure the health and social welfare of our great nation, as well as to sustain economic growth today and in the years to come. Finally, I wish to emphasize that the measures I have announced are initial response to the impact of COVID-19. Government may take additional measures to support the economy and respond specifically to the challenges the business community may face, as well as safeguard the financial sector should the situation worsen. Thank you. Back to Mo.
Honorable Member for Banjul North, or Banjul South.
Well, Honorable Speaker, I will second this motion, but I have some reservations. Honorable Speaker, this is an assembly that makes laws, and the laws that we make should be respected by this august assembly. If I am permitted, I will take you to section 153 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, in regards to supplementary appropriation. It says, subject to section 154, if in respect of any financial year it is found that the amount appropriated under the Appropriation Act is insufficient, or that a need has arisen for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act, a supplementary estimate showing the sums required shall be laid before the National Assembly before the expenditure has been incurred. And that is very clear. And according to the Honorable Minister, some of what he is requesting have already been incurred. That is one thing that we need to bear in mind. The second thing is, Honorable Speaker, we have an Act of Parliament, the Public Finance Act, and I will also draw your attention to the duties and responsibilities of the minister under Section 3. It says that under Section 3, duties and responsibilities of the minister shall carry out the budget execution and internal auditing, cash management, and current year financial planning management of the government.
Observation, Honorable Speaker. Observation. Observation.
It's not a point of order. Can I go on, please? Can you excuse me, please?
I just want to help you before you proceed.
Go ahead.
No, I don't need your help. I can help myself. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, but I can help myself.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Honorable Speaker, we go back to E, that same section, subsection E. It says to promote fiscal transparency and effective management in respect of revenues, expenditure, and assets and liabilities of the government. So, Honorable Speaker, with all that in mind, Honorable Speaker, we appreciate this laudable initiative taken by the minister and by the government to take care of its citizens in time of need. But we must respect the laws that we make.
On the motion of the Honorable Minister, it has been moved and seconded. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
It had been moved and seconded. This item do consider.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the supplementary estimate 2020. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you.
We didn't hear your no, please. Can you go over it?
Through Section 30 of the Public Finance Act, subsection 2, submitted the motion that where substantial changes in the economic and social conditions require larger expenditures, than the original and revised budget allow, the minister shall submit a supplementary budget to the National Assembly detailing the additional expenditures and sources of their financing. That is what has been done. Honorable Speaker, Section 24 tells us what the contents of appropriation bill documents should be. That the appropriation bill documents submitted to the National Assembly shall contain summary statements on the economic and social conditions of the Gambia, etc., and the expenditures. Essentially, those documents, you must start with the estimates. Honorable Speaker, the estimate is what we are to consider, and our standing orders is very clear. Standing Order 86 is actually telling us exactly what should be done, because supplementary estimates and the bill must go through the same form as what is the appropriation and the estimates. So, Honorable Speaker, Standing Order 86 is very clear as to what should be done. And paragraph clause 6, that is paragraph 6 of 86, Standing Order 86 is saying that you should adjourn the debate on it until the following day for members to study the statement that has been made by the minister and then make their submission and announce to the Assembly the decision of the Assembly Business Committee after consultation with the majority and minority leader and any others he sees fit on an adequate period to be allotted to the debate on the motion and the consideration of the estimates by the Committee of Supply. So the debate on the motion shall be confined to the estimates and the explanatory statement together with the reported findings and recommendations of the Assembly committees and the Finance and Public Accounts Committee consolidated report of the Assembly's committees consideration of the draft budget. So, Honorable Speaker, it is telling you that ultimately these are the procedures. So we should just continue. Our standing orders are clear. We should just continue and do what the standing orders say, Honorable Speaker.
The standing order that you quote refer to the annual estimate. And this one that the minister presents is a supplementary estimate. So can you please enlighten the Assembly on that issue, please?
Honorable Speaker, the supplementary estimate should take the same form as the annual appropriation. It's the same format. If you see anything different, then point it out. I'm saying that's what it should be.
Observation.
Observation, please.
Observation from any other member,
yes,
please. From the supplementary estimate 2020 to FPAC committee. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. The session I now put the question, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Thursday, the 9th July 2020 at 10 a.m. Those in favor, please say aye.
Observation.
Those not in favor, please say no.
Observation.
The ayes have it. The session
ngee waaja soppeeku bu baax Excaf Gambia ñoo indi DTT decoder yu bees di ngeen ci am GRTS QTV Star TV Paradise TV ak MTA te doo fay dara DTT decoder yi ñaari junni ak ñeent fukki dalasi rek la mooy jar teg ci dinañ la may lu toll ci benn weer di nga seetaan yeneen channel si biir àddina si te doo fay benn xaalis waaye boo bëggee continuer seetaan lu weesu juróom benn fukki channel da nga war a subscribe maanaam weer bu nekk di nga fay juróomi téeméer ak fukki dalasi rek nga seetaan football leagues yépp si àddina si news African music telenovela film yu neex music cartoon pour xale yi